All right, so this is going to be our review of the online students. We're going to start with Angelica and work our way through to the end to Roy. All right, so first we start here, and you have the link for Real Deal Tacos to your site. And so it pops up right now with the homepage. And the first thing I notice is the logo. However, the contrast is a little off and it's a little hard to see because there's one right here too, and it's really, really, really tiny. And so you lose all visibility of anything in here except for maybe the fish. And it hurts the eyes a little bit because of the contrast. And then you also have the logo here. The edges could be a little bit cleaner when extracting it. Maybe use something to soften it a little bit or put something behind it to help blend it in a little bit more. But that would be the one thing. And then this image right here looks slightly pixelated when we're looking at it. Let me populate it. All right, so then it looks a little off balance as well. I understand that you're putting it to the side of here, but I would maybe find an image where you could center it. Having the location catch us today at really big here makes it look like it should be almost a location page on the front page. And so maybe even having it as like a section and then something else here with different text could help. When we come down here, we have Brenda and Robert Thomas. It's an interesting photo to have behind it of two people looking like they're making out at the beach for a taco company. So maybe something more personable, and also something that has a little bit more contrast. The colors within here, because it's a little hard to read, and maybe use two paragraphs when you're looking here. If you read more, it takes us to an about page. And the title right here says Brenda and Robert Thomas instead of about. I would think you might want to have the about here and then maybe put a subsection down here about the owners and going in that way. Let's go back to the home though. And then there's this arbitrary photo that looks like it's almost a video because it says pause play. Okay, there, it's a slideshow. Maybe that could hide a little bit more. I would have some text that goes along with it. It just looks randomly placed down here. And then also the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram links. While stylized, I think people are used to connecting it with the icon. And so I would maybe have the icons and then place them to the side. Within here, let's see if they work. They do. All right. And then we have this fictitious thing here. Okay, so that's our home page. Let's go to the about. We have a lot of text on here. I like this top image, but again, I would have it changed to about, and the contrast is off, so it's really hard to read. Maybe a bolder typography would help make it stand out against the image, or changing the opacity of the image. The photos on the side, I would have photos that tie into the text more, or maybe within the story to break it up a little bit more. They feel, again, a little randomly placed within here. Or maybe even try the blue text as well within here, or subheadings to help us scan through the content. When we go to menu, it looks like it's a different website. So I would even maybe have menu as its own thing right here, and then make sure that the typography is the same and go with the different color so that it doesn't feel completely like its own site. I understand that you're probably picking the color from the chip, but I would kind of keep that clean, fresh feel of Real Deal Tacos, because this, again, doesn't feel like that. And that you have the same colors and typeface throughout. You could also bring this text up a little bit closer and then also make a little bit less space in between, and the color palette again, make it consistent because there's a lot of space going down into here. So you could have that and probably eliminate a lot of the space. Bring the image closer to it if you're going to have the image, or maybe to the side within here. I would also maybe have a higher quality image so it doesn't look like just the basket there. You can't really see the food inside. So you can actually see the taco and have that as the focus. And going down to here. All right. News. Rolling with the Tides. I'm not sure if that's the name of the blog, but I would have maybe again the news title right here, or news and events, and so people understand and it connects where you are. And then I like that you have a blog and you have some news in here, but let me click on. Okay, so this looks like this, you can't go anywhere else, it's all on one page. And so if you're going to do a blog or news, sometimes it's more beneficial so that it's done in a blog format, and so it can open to a new page and increase your SEO. You'll want to have images as well within your post, and this way also that you can have share buttons so someone can share the event or check in with the event as well. All right, and then contact. The drop us a line. I know it's not necessary, but it kind of could be cute if you had to drop us a line. I like that tagline with a little reel, I would think. And like it's like hooking the phone number or something. It could be fun. You have the email. You could also have like the icon that connects it and opens up the email address. And maybe have the little icons with it, phone, and then address. It just says San Diego, California. There's nothing there. So I would think that you would have the location, and this is also where that map would be. It would feel like it would go better. All right. Peer feedback from the classroom. What do you guys, what's your thoughts?
I really like the pictures and stuff that they chose, and I like all the catchy type things, like the catch the line stuff too, and the map is a good idea as well, and how big it is. It's like even Catch Us Today. It's like all the like little like punny things that they're put in there are nice.
Within it.
I feel like some of the text like it just needs a lot of like a little bit more contrast.
Yeah.
Like a lot of images, which you mentioned before. There's just some of the like fonts a little bit too thin. Like it kind of like I get like wanting to emphasize the photography because it's really nice, but like it just sort of takes away a little bit when you can't read it.
I don't remember what specific page it was on, but there was one that was like a weird color scheme.
The menu.
Yeah, just kind of like I know it matched like probably the chips and stuff, but for the overall branding of the company it was kind of weird.
And purple doesn't make you feel hunger.
Yeah, and I think because of the fold. Yeah.
Like
The gradient gets weird.
And in design, you want to be careful of gradients in general. It's an old look that people used to go with gradients, but like a lot of times they're clean, especially with food, when you're thinking fresh, organic, right? You want to make sure that you have that feel and that vibe when you're looking at it. All right, any other feedback? All right, thank you. Our next one is Chanel. All right, so let's open Chanel's link. All right, so the first thing here I see is that we could use more padding above and below the logo. It's cutting it off right here when you have it. It has a nice contrast. However, that would be beneficial. Also, you can't really see the social buttons. If they could be enlarged, that would be great, and even possibly moved over to the right side. With the logo here, a lot of times the logo works as a home button itself, and so you wouldn't need the home button in that case, because it just would be insinuated that you would click right here and it would take you. Then we have our story. Menus, if there's more than one menu, then you'd have that, but otherwise it could just be menu. And then you have online ordering, catering. I would think that you might have catering and events or something beforehand, and then order online or contact, and you could have that there as well, and then have a separate order online now button for a call to action. Might work well. This photo is very vibrant, so I do like that. I would like to see if you're going to have this here a little bit more space around the logo, and then some more space between this top menu bar and then the logo right here, because it feels really cramped within it. I see you have the outline to help with the contrast issue here as well. It helps, maybe even a shadow would help a little bit more to pop it off the page. And then these gray buttons with the tan colors. I see that you're going right here, and then it has like the brown text. They could use a little bit, or be a little bit more stylized, and again having more spacing. It just feels again a little bit cramped as well. So we have C menu is the call to action. I would maybe use a different typeface, so that works there. We come back to the home. We order online. So that works here. We'll go over the menu in a second. And then reservations. I was curious where reservations takes you. It takes you to a contact page, which again is not part of this menu. So that's a little bit confusing. Also, as I talked about with the campus class, unless you have customer service there all the time or reason, you wouldn't have the Let's Chat, because they're going to expect someone to be there then to talk to, and it could get frustrating. So there's a little bit of confusion on titles and pages as it applies to the home page and what's here. However, the imagery I like, but yeah, maybe a little bit lighter here in the bar, doing something white or something could be beneficial. Okay, let's go to our story. I'm just wondering if that moved every time. So you have this as live text. I would maybe reduce the amount of space right here between the top and our story. You could bring it up a little bit more. I like having the image of the people. I think that's nice. And then you have the image there. Although it feels a little long and unbalanced down here. It would be the only thing. I'd also maybe use a slightly darker color because the contrast is a little off, and it does make you have to squint a little bit. And then in some of these spots, if you can make more paragraphs to help the eyes, so work on concise writing within the story. This yellow would be actually a pretty color in the contrast. Okay, or something within the blue. But that's really nice. It's the first time I've seen someone use a picture of what would be the owners. This color does not go with everything else. I do like, however, this is what I've talked about before with the online class, is when you had the third, when it was uneven, you didn't have 4, taking this one and making it in the center, so that works really well. So that's good. You could, it has it down there. I don't know if I would like having the gluten-free up top as well, but it does work here. I love this bold text. I think this works really, really nice, and it stands out. I would like to see this as for titles within the rest of the site as well. And then maybe a little bit more space between your lines, because this is, again, really hard to read. And it could just be the colors, but I would definitely change that, go with the blue, and have that back here behind it. The one thing that's missing under your tacos, just because now I've seen all the other pages, is the, what was it, 2 for 3, or 2 for 5, or the 1 for 3 option. But that's the one thing that this one does not have. And then there's nothing about the drinks or the sides. It just has starters and tacos on here. So it looks like it's missing part of the menu. And since you do have an online ordering, it would be nice to maybe even have like order now button, a call to action on here. All right, ordering online. So you have this here. I would change the contrast. It's really hard to read at first, and you can't go through the menu. It just gives you 3 items to order online. So it's not, okay, sorry. I didn't see this over here. So you have to go through actually each section and add it this way. This could be a little frustrating. And you can make it go lower. Now you have this all capitalized, and this is title cased. So I would also have that different. And I don't see any way to, okay, you can connect and sign in. So maybe a little sign in button as well, so you can get your account or maybe your past order if you want to. But this is really, really, like, I can't even read this. Browse our menu and start doing items to your order. That's hard to read. They have special requests, so that's nice. That's one thing that always frustrates me, is if you can't tell them, like, I don't want this or I want this. So having that is a good thing. But yeah, I would definitely, well, I guess this menu only had the starters and the tacos. I would have the other items as well. And then, yeah, catering and events is what I would have. So you can have our catering menu. And it just takes you to the other one. So I would expect to see a different menu if you're going to have that, and maybe some type of PDF for catering. And then you have that here. Now, the one thing I can't figure out how to find outside of your homepage and going to reservations is this book a table, our location, and contact us. The usability of this section is really hard, and it would frustrate me as a user, because unless I go back to the homepage, I see that there is no way for me to find the contact or anything as well. And there are food trucks. I don't know that you can book a table unless they have tables outside that you can reserve outside their food truck. But then I would think that would be under events or events and catering as well. All right, opening it to the class.
It's a little cluttered, since on some pages, like layout wise, it's just some things are just a little too close together, and so it makes it a little hard to read.
Yeah. Yeah, the template's really nice though, but the just the colors of the brownie, tan, purpley colors, like I just don't think it fits with the company that well.
Just looking right here, I know it's probably for readability, but those like see menu, order online, reservations buttons just kind of look, I don't know, they look weird to me.
Yeah.
It's not like a pure, it's like not a white, it's like a gray, but like the logo circle is white.
Yeah, and it's not as appealing. It looks almost like it should be a wireframe
Yeah.
instead of the design. All right, any other feedback? All right. Good job. We go to the next one. Angelie. Let's take a look at your site. Ooh, I like the wave. It makes me want to get back to the beach. Okay, so starting up here with yours, I like the new shape that you went with. I would maybe blend in these photos though, within the design. I see that it's repeating, but maybe design it for the space that you have. This logo is cut off though, in spots, and it's hard to see the San Diego in California, so I would make it a little larger and make sure that you're not cutting off things. These follow buttons look a little pixelated, oddly, and they shouldn't be. And so I would look at just making them work for the page. And then the At Real Deals tacos, that's only going to be for 2 of them. And so maybe I would even have a hashtag that you want people to use, right, if you're going to promote it, instead right here that they can be used across the board. We then go into home, about, menu, location, and service hours. That's long. News, blog, and contact. Here I would shorten this one right here because it's making everything else look oddly spaced on the top. And also the color, it's that a different blue from here, I would maybe just go simply with black between that also in the welcome. And then put a little bit space in between each one of your items. You can just say location and hours even, but that's a little long. And then you don't have to put blog. You can put news and then contact, but the order works well. I would maybe have a tagline here instead of just welcome. And then you have the little pictures here. It's oddly spaced. I would think that this one would go to the end of the page. It just feels like it's not really aligned well, especially with the text underneath it. I would think that that would maybe be centered, or you could have even a graphic like all tacos, you know, $3 that goes with it, because this is not a menu page. Then go with appetizer to food as well, because that's the way you're kind of thinking. I like that you have testimonials, but again, this feels like smushed in here between here and here, and then this shadow behind isn't needed, but it all feels a little squished. The sign up for offers, you could even say get a discount or something when you sign up to entice them to sign up and put more space. All right. Going into the about page. Ooh. This is a lot of text. A lot of text. And so you'd want to break it up with some more spacing and maybe have an image of, again, the founders or their food, or have subheadings within here. But I know for me, this is going to be a lot to read. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, why is there no? Does that mean something within it? All right. Menu. I would like to see like subheadings in all these as well. Like, so you have about us, right? And then I would like to see start with like a menu one, bring it down. And then that way you have the text for menu on the page. And then have starters, tacos, and have a little bit more space. I do like that you put photos with it. It's nice, but if you can see like right here, it's not aligned. And so it looks a little funny. So I'd make sure that everything is perfectly aligned, or this is brought down more if you have to. And like even the prices, it's very jumpy. And the colors too, they're not cohesive with the brand color. They're all on a blue color palette, but it just doesn't necessarily go. The starters, I think I would like it better if it wasn't italicized. And again, if it just was very simple and maybe black. And I don't know that it needs an underline. But I do like the images a lot. However, I would have more padding as well right here, so it's not hugging each section. This all tacos are $3 each, or 2 for $5. You don't need the period. And then I would maybe make it a little bit smaller. And the same here, and make it consistent. So like you have pricing here, but there's no pricing here. And again, you have this roller coaster effect within it. However, I do again like the photo going with the design. Same thing with the drinks, the same feedback, and the desserts. Just more consistency. I don't know that everything else works though in the sections when it doesn't have the photos. So if you're going to put photos with some, I would put photos with everything, or no photos at all. Because then it just feels like I should be pushing this as a button when there's not a photo. It's like, why isn't it doing it? And I want to push it. And then there's a lot of space here before it says gluten-free. I'm not sure what that has to do with it. And then again, the sign up for offers. All right, location and service hours. Again, just have consistent typography. The spacing works though. You have a little bit of space here, so that's nice. And maybe a little bit more within this, but this again is still harder to read, and I would take off the sign up for offers, and so it's not on every single page. And then have more spacing in here. I just want to take all this design and just stretch it a little bit more. But you have each day, so that works, and you have the every day of the week, and you have the hours, so that's nice. The contrast on this one's a little hard to read. Also, I would have an image in here so it's not blank. And the getting started in your community, I don't think that that's needed. So just make sure that that's always cleaned up. But again, this is a little hard to read. I would have images in your post, but I do like that you have share buttons as well, and so that people can share it. And then contact, you have the phone number, the website, and you have this right here. I would just have, again, more spacing, consistency, and then maybe even have some gallery or connection to the Instagram on here as well. Any feedback?
Overall, it was very nice to look at, despite a couple things here and there, like the spacing and all that. But really consistent throughout.
Yeah. I think like the font was very consistent. It was just too small in some places.
Anything else? Alrighty. Thank you. We're gonna move on to the next one. Julie Ann. All right. Let's check this out. Well, we cannot see this one. Maybe if I take this off, it will help. Okay. So that's the first issue. Make sure that you have a valid link that you are submitting. And that's a thing anyone can learn from, is when you are putting in your URLs, make sure it's not you signed in, right? Because it will say like my account or this. And it might not be valid when you're sharing it other places. And so make sure you're doing it from what the public can see here. All right, but good, we have this figured out. All right, so this is one of our first ones that is using Squarespace, I believe. We have the logo here. It feels like it's just randomly floating. I think I would have liked it without the white behind it, or like a longer bar or a circle, just because it does feel random. I think having a circle feel would have it look less like clip arty, like I cut it out and put it there. And I would see it a little bit larger so that you can see San Diego, California in it if I was doing that. I do like the typography here. I think this looks really nice and clean, and it stands up out from the page. I do like that you have the opacity down a little bit so that you can read it. The best fish tacos in San Diego for real. I would maybe even have that word real here, blue, and connected to the blue here, so you have it. But other than that, I think it looks nice. You have learn more here. I maybe would just change this from learning more, unless, let's see what they're going to do. They're doing nothing. So I thought maybe it was going to take us to a menu. And so I would have that like menu or location. So it's taking us to nothing, so that's not working well, and the functionality is off. When we come down here, we see welcome to Fresh Fish Tacos on the Move. The location of our food truck varies every day. Check here for our locations daily. Okay. So I would have maybe the location first, and then scrunch Monday and like Wednesday together, Tuesday and Friday, so that it connects better to this, and have a little bit less space in between here. Because I'm like, okay, it moves. Oh, wait, now here it is, right? When we're looking. And then open 11 to 2. I'm confused on this. Why does this say open 11 to 2? I think that is something that's wrong right here. And so it doesn't seem to be the same. And then if the times and dates are the same, I would actually have the time and date here, so it doesn't elongate everything else. And then just have your location of where you're going to be, like Monday and Wednesday, San Diego State, and because it makes it easier to see. And you don't have to have the phone number. So I would have hours in every day, 11 to 2, 5 to 9 dinner, and then the phone number here if you want to have that. Okay, so we have Monday, Wednesday, you have this, and then that would clean it up a little bit. When you click on see more, there's nothing here. It's broken, so that's an issue with functionality. Click the logo, it does take us back to the home page, as it I would think, so that's a good thing. Ooh, and then these pictures are a little large. I would make them a little bit smaller for the space because you're not even thinking to go down here. And then like, okay, I'll join. You join our mailing list is right there. But yeah, I would definitely make that smaller. All right, now coming over here, we can go to the menu. This is odd that I have to sign in to go to a menu. I'm not sure why I'd have to sign in to do that. And it's saying for Hootsuite, and there's an error, so it looks like this is broken, and we can't even get to the menu. So that definitely is a usability error. The same thing for About, Gallery, and Contact. So we cannot function through the site. So this would be a huge thing. So you want to make sure that you click all your links ahead of time. Otherwise, you might have an issue. Let's check it down here in the footer links, if we can get to it. So I am able to get to it in the footer. But again, there's this huge photo, and I have to scroll down way below the fold to even see it. And then it's a little hard to read over the image. So what I might do is have a different layer here with a different opacity going, through the middle, and they could make sure everything fits in here. And then I would bring the text in so it's more lines, maybe cut it midway if you're going to have 2 columns of text. And then just pop it off the page. You could use a different color. Right here, this is a little error too. It has a different typography for canned soda. And I can see that you might have these bolded, but you can't really tell based off of how everything is on this page. I do like how you have the sides, that they are smaller and it's not its own big section for sides. However, the spacing is weird, so I could have like guacamole $1 and then maybe have the space or a line between the $1 and limes because it's connecting $1 to limes, 50 cents to corn tortillas, even though it's not meant to do that. Having a line makes it a little odd, or have like a long line right here. All right, so let's come to the About section. Again, there's no About even going from here. The Gallery. It's a little, you don't know what you're looking at. Oh, right here, it says Black and Fish Tacos on the 1. Okay, they're here, but you can't see it easy. I couldn't even tell if that was that. So maybe adjust the size of these and choose something a little bit different within the gallery, or connect to like the Instagram. Like that. Say hello. I would have Contact above Say Hello though. Contact, the Real Deal logo, and then and then Say Hello. This doesn't really tell me how to contact you. It just where to find you on social media. And I maybe have the buttons, and you can see also that these aren't aligned well. All right. Any other feedback? Okay. Why would you think it doesn't fit?
Because they want to go for more of an ocean theme, and I feel like the black doesn't really fit with it. Maybe if they wanted to go for a darker aspect, go for a darker blue
Okay.
or something to mimic the ocean of some kind.
That keep the same thing throughout with like what the company wants.
The buttons like they used on the site, like they're like good, like they look really nice. It's just some of the links aren't there, which is just really disappointing.
Yeah, the usability was a big issue on this. If I didn't go into the footer, we wouldn't even know how to use the site, right? You give up if you're a user. And so that's a big thing. You don't want someone just to leave because that's, no, don't do that.
But I do like this main page a lot with like some minor tweaking. Like I feel like it looks really good.
Yeah, it pops off nice. Does a nice job with contrast. Anything else? All right, thank you. Next up is Jonathan. Okay, when it loads, I think it's kind of cute that it popped up, but I kind of would like it just even right there. I think it would be a little bit, I don't know, just because the logo is right there, you know exactly what you're looking at. I'm thinking this is a Wix thing right here, so, but I would see how you can get rid of that bar on the top. The menu looks a little squished or too busy in a way. Maybe you could put like testimonials under story, food under menu, I would think. Yeah, and then have the social buttons just right here, not give it its own section, and then location. And so you don't want to overcomplicate a menu. You want it to be simplified so people can just go and find it. Down here, I like that you put the bar behind the text for the contrast. However, I would make the typography a lot smaller. It's easy to want to make it larger, and then when you step back, it's like, oh yeah, that is a little bit too big. Oh, and this is just your copyright thing, and so that would have been really, really small. I was thinking it had some added value to the site, and so I wouldn't have necessarily put that there. I would just have that as something smaller in the footer instead of part of the main design. All right. I might have to do Taco Monday after this. Okay. Story. Let's go here. This feels like I'm on a totally different website with the color palette and the contrast. I feel like I'm at a party site. It's like, woo, we're going to have a party tonight, right? But the logo doesn't go with the colors, and it's cut off here.
Reminds me of like a wedding invite.
Yeah. It feels like New Year's Eve invite. So like if Real Deal Tacos was doing something New Year's Eve, it could work. But it doesn't fit. And then again, this is really large in comparison. So you get down there, there's not space, and I would have this small. But it's hard to read over the background, and you could have a bar here. I would also have photos, and we don't know Robert and Barbara. And so it's, you know, Real Deal Tacos story, and then you could have like who Robert and Barbara are right there.
And her name's Brenda.
That's Brenda. Okay, thank you. There we go. Brenda. Oh yeah, Brenda, Barbara. Make sure that you pay attention to that, because if you are a client, the client, right, and you bring this back to them and their name is incorrect, they might get a little upset. I mean, I know I kind of get a little frustrated if someone gets an IN with my name instead of an EN in my name. So this is something that you do want to be conscious of when you're going in with your clients and just making sure you know their names and what you're doing. But it does feel a little heavy. And then this also looks like it's a navy blue. And this is black, and that's one of my no-nos. A dark navy blue and black together. Yeah, you don't wear it together, and so don't put it in the design together. Okay. Menu. I would have more space in between the logo and menu, and a little more space between the menu and this. And then, is this all lined up? I guess it is. Okay, it looks a little odd because, again, the background makes it hard to read. I would also have the title part right here bolded so it stands out from the rest. And then not have the wrap text like this should fit on one line. And if it doesn't, bring this down to the bottom. And then get all three for $2 more at the top instead of having it on each individual one. I think, is that what it is? Oh no, that's just part of this. Okay, I thought that was part of that. But it's a little hard to read. And you can also have an image maybe at the top of each one as well. That would make it nice. The sides are not aligned, so you can see it's a little off, so I would clean that up. And neither are the columns, so it looks a little odd. It looks like it's randomly placed. Food. What do we think we're gonna see in food?
Photos.
Okay, let's see. We see photos. Woo! All right. Now there's nothing that tells us what what the food is though, right? So we just see food, but I'm like, what if I'm like, oh, this one looks good, or this one looks good, or what's the difference between this and this? I can't even tell, or this and this. And so you want to make sure that we understand what it is, and the food photos again, we should have everything the same size and have subheadings, or bring it into like an Instagram widget, throw it onto the page. And the logo looks like it's not centered on this, or maybe the food items are not. But yeah, it does not feel balanced on here. And then this is hitting here and there's no pad. All right. Location. Minus the color and the spacing between this and this. This area works better except for right here every day of the week, and I'd have a little bit more spacing in between this and hours of operation. And then more space at the bottom as well. But other than that, it works. Let's see. Again, more space between this. And I think I would use a different stylization of my buttons so that they all look consistent. Because here you're going with the main ones, and then here you knock out the color. And so if you're going to use a certain social button, make sure that they're all the same. And then I would have like the follow us as well, capitalized, because you have social media. So I'd have follow and us. But yeah, again, with this background, it's really hard. And then maybe some previews of the things that you have on social media. The layout for testimonials, I feel like you could use a space better so that you wouldn't even have to read down. You could even have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But again, I would put this on the story or on the home page, and not its own. And you could just put contact us right here and have it, and then more space within here. And then again, more space up here as well. What's everyone's feedback on this?
The background, like the confetti looking background, I just feel like it doesn't mesh well.
It was supposed to be a tortilla.
Oh.
Is that what it was?
Is
Really?
That's what I did.
I just still felt
I think it's what it's supposed to be, but
it all makes more sense now.
I mean, I get it.
To me, it looks still like New Year's Eve, but yeah.
It still does.
I just feel like even if it's supposed to be a tortilla, it doesn't flow with the color scheme, you know?
It's still easily mistakable.
Yeah.
Like
But that makes more sense.
yeah. But I mean, if there were more like details put into it, make it look like a tortilla, I think it'd work a lot better.
Look how good those ones look.
What else do you guys think?
Yeah, the header bar with all the pages could be condensed more, as well as just spacing of things. I think that the overall like theme of the website though is like good template, and also I don't know like if this is something, but like on the contact page, it has like the website link. Do you have to like put the website link when you're already like on the website?
That is true. I didn't even realize that. I'm thinking, oh yeah, they're doing it for them. But yeah. No, especially not the www. Unless you have it only as www and it only works that way. No, you would not have to. That is a good point. Anything else? All right. Nice. All right. We just looked at this one, right? Yeah, that was Jonathan. Okay. So we are going to Marquila and looking at Real Deal Tacos webpage. Okay. So the first thing I think of when I look at this is it looks like it's a blog from the homepage. and it looks like it's a blog post and not a website. I would like to see maybe an image up here and the logo up top ahead of it. And then the colors to match, because these are definitely different colors and a different color palette on here. The design with the menu, you have home, menu, find the truck. So I'm guessing that's supposed to be location, testimonials, and contact. So there is no about on here. It said it's put down here, which I would think that you put about and testimonials, or flip-flop it, right? Have an about page and put testimonials on the home page. I would like to see some images brought to the very top on here. And then some subsections, because it just feels like a long blog post. It looks like there is photos in the gallery, but it's all the same. And so in this case, then you wouldn't need a slideshow. You would just put the photo right here, and it would change a lot. And some type of call to action. But yeah, above the fold, it's very bleak, I guess would be the word. And so you want to make sure that you're grabbing their attention to begin with. All right. Menu. So we go here. We have a little bit of imagery. I don't know that this needs to be italicized. And I would maybe put menu above the photos, and so we know what page we're on. And then put them underneath, closer to the food. So maybe change the typeface. You have the gluten-free under each one, so signify that. So that's nice. I like that it's a different font size, so you have that larger with the description underneath. That makes it nice and stand out. It's easy to read going down your menu. And you have the price up here on these. So it's definitely very easy to read in your menu. And you kept this nice and small and easy. All right. And then the gluten-free, it's connected easily to everything. And so it's not too far down. Okay. One other thing too is if you could take the background of the white out and just place it right on the color. I think that would be nice instead of having the square around it. Find the food truck. I would also like it if the color just changed on here instead of the underline. All right. So this calendar, it doesn't really fit the design. It looks more like an Excel calendar just placed in here. And so I would do something that maybe fit everything and you didn't have to scroll. There was no scroll bar included. It just fit the space really easy. Since everything is also, it's the same nights, the same places, I think that you could do it maybe the other way that everyone else did it. Where you have the certain days of the week and list it instead of doing a huge calendar, unless it's going to be somewhere completely different. But then do something that's more stylized to fit the feel of the brand. A little bit more modern. The testimonials, it's a little hard to see that these are all from different people, so maybe even having the name different or having them like in little blocks could be really nice when looking at everything. And then with the contact us, it looks like this logo is a little cut off, and these are all different sizes, so it'd have some consistency. Maybe bring them over here to balance out the page a little bit. And then if you have those, you don't really need to list out the links right here underneath. You can just put like follow that truck. I think that's a really cute phrase. And then have the follow buttons underneath it, I think would be a better use of the space. And then having the contact here again. You can even have a logo instead of phone, email. But if you want to do that, again, I don't think you need to have it underlined as well, and just to have more space and utilize the platform. All right, so pushing it back to the peanut gallery in the classroom. What's your guys' feedback?
Just like one, I think that the logo could be like the upper corners or something rather than on every page. Like that's the first thing you see, because that's kind of like what draws your eyes on every single page. Is just like the logo each time, and also it's like not centered, and that's like visually bothersome, you know. But other than that, I like the simplicity of the site and the color scheme seems pretty good and stuff.
I like the idea with the calendar one. If it was implemented a little better, I think it would work really well. You could have like a cute, simple design instead of like yellow stuff.
I think the fonts work really well together, but for like certain like headings, like if they made more of like a stylistic choice with them instead of just having like that same plain like look to them, it might be a little more interesting like visually, like especially along the top, like for Real Little Tacos, it's a little more stylized.
Okay, good feedback. Yeah, I want to see this moved up. Put this like this image right here, and the logo next to it. I think that would just change the site a lot, right there. Okay, good job. Thank you for sharing. All right, next is Cameron Ward. I like this one just right off the bat. The colors, they vibe well together. I would have a little more space in the top. And so that would be the one thing, and a little bit more space here in padding, just to pop it. But I think it's a really nice contrast and a very simple menu from what we see. We see home, about, menu, locations. But then we scroll down and there's nothing here. So I would have some text here on that front because I would expect to see something here. I'm like, is it missing? Has it not loaded? What's going on here? I do like the social buttons and the phone number, though, in the footer. Great. Now we come to the about. The quote being right here above the heading is a little confusing and it's a little hard to see. So I would move that somewhere else on the page and also maybe use a different photo because you're not looking at the text at all, you're looking at the photo. And I can really hardly read the text. And the text is, look at this. It's an image. Part of our 10 commandments is don't use text as an image, right? Because you're losing out on all that SEO. Yeah, so we want to make sure that we're not doing that when we're looking at it. And then you don't need to give their personal contact information here as well. And maybe have a photo that takes you back to their story. Yeah, and they have the same phone number. But that T should fit up in here. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a formatting issue. All right, this right here, again, these sections at the top with this doesn't make sense. It should say like menu instead of having a quote at the very top. And I don't like the box around the text. It makes it hard to read. However, I do like the images, and I think that's nice. Maybe a little bit less padding so it's more consistent. Like you can see it's right here, less space than right here. And then maybe appetizers, a little bit more space between the image and the image and the text. And then take this off right here as well. Blue corn tortilla chips and dip. All right, and then you have that. Yeah, because that's just not needed. This should be bolded as well. All tacos, $3 each, underneath tacos and spaced. And again, I would have a little bit less padding around here and nothing around these sections. It's a little odd when you're looking at it. But I do like the imagery. The sides. It just has a side of limes. I know that there's more things, and so I would like to see others, because otherwise I don't think that you would put a side of limes for your menu. It just wouldn't fit. It just feels like we're missing content. Like how this one has no padding, that's nice. And I like how you actually have a map of each one so they can find it, so that's kind of nice as well. But again, I would take away this quote and just have hours. Every day of the week, and then you have that rotating schedule stops, have that centered, just because of the nature of the page. But that does look nice that you have that. You could even make these circles a little bit smaller so that it fits a little bit more, so it doesn't feel like we're having to scroll as much on the page. I would like it if we could see Thursday, Friday above the fold a little bit, of the second part. All right. Is there a contact section? It does not have it. Just down here is the only thing with contact. That is the one thing that I think is missing. Someone might go down to the footer, but they also might be looking for how do we contact you for more information. Any feedback?
I like the overall look of it. It's very clean, concise, and does its job so far.
Yeah, I just wish they had all the information. Because,
Yeah.
like, what they have so far is pretty good. It's just like, oh, like, the stuff that's lacking is very obvious then.
It's like almost there.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Any other feedback? All right. Have, I think, one left. We have Jacob. For real. At first I thought it was like a mountain site. All right, so here again, the logo a little bit cut off. It could be a little larger, hard to see. It looks like this site was designed for different dimensions because I think, like to see the logo right here a little bit more. But, and then we don't need the chat button as we talked about. The contrast of for real is a little hard to see. I would maybe even have like this behind it, but also have a white layer over, right? And so that it's standing out. The best fish tacos in San Diego. I like that tagline. It's nice. I would like to see the blue, though, incorporate a little bit more. This, I think, would be better if it was a white bar behind it, help it stand out, and then use the blue, the brand blue for the text. But let's see. If we hit locations, it takes us to a location page. That's nice as well. But the mountains, again, are a little confusing. And this image looks, maybe this is San Diego, but it doesn't look like it fits San Diego. It looks like we're in a city. It reminds me actually of Sesame Street. Now we're thinking of it. Like these photos fit a little bit better when you're thinking of, you know, the beach. But I still would like to see the food. There's nothing with food that shows me anything with food or food truck or food truck location, I would think. I would like to see the days of the week bolded a little bit more. And it's a little bit in here. And yeah, when you scroll over, you can't see here. All right, let's go back to home though. I love how the social aspect on the bottom, and it's just fun right here. The about and locations seems a little bit random down here within the section, but I do like the social aspect. Or you think maybe it would go in order if you're going to do that. Okay. But it looks pretty. Ooh. This is a little strange. When you go over about, then the menu comes down here. I would like to see menu up in the main navigation. So it just feels consistent. And also the story photo. I would maybe have this come out a little bit more here, and so it's not such a long column and a different image, because this just shows like boating and it's not feeling fresh in San Diego or anything with the food, or seeing you know, the founders on here as well. All right, so we looked over here at, and that's the only way we can see the menu is if you scroll over this area, otherwise it doesn't populate. This looks like a different website when you go to the menu. I do like this bold text. This is very easy to see starters and tacos. However, you only have pricing under starters, and tacos, there's nothing about pricing. So I would be confused about this. There's also less space between these, and then it gets to be more space here. So I would change that a little bit. Also gluten-free. It doesn't tell us what is gluten-free, it's just randomly placed. And then there should be more padding right here with the logo. And then this menu just disappears on this page, which makes it hard to see. We already went over locations. Social, oh, you have social and blogs. So again, that's very confusing. You think you just have maybe a news, and then like the text right here wraps around. And so it should all fit in the same space. However, I do like that you can see some of the social. It looks nice. And it pops it. Okay. How do we get that blog? Oh, it's hiding there in her hair. This one is titled news, and so it should match, right? So if we're seeing news, it should say news up here instead of blog. And then when you click on it, I do like the title. It has images and follow buttons, so that is nice. And then contact. If it's going to go down to 2 lines, I would just have it be contact. I think that would be more beneficial. And the same thing here, we're having a little bit of a wrapping issue with the text. And maybe having a different image, because this feels like we're in the mountains and it doesn't feel like it fits the brand page. Any other feedback?
I really like the overall template. It feels like clean and it has a nice vibe to it. But just like fixing some of the things, like the making sure that you can see the tab, like the top part, you know. And some of the pictures and stuff just look a little busy, especially on this like home page. Like if you scroll down, everything just kind of looks a little much. So just like if you're gonna have like so many pages, especially on like the social one, then like just make sure you can distinguish between the information and like the pictures, you know.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of problem with seeing a lot of like text that goes over image. It just some of the images are just a little too dark. Like they're very like nice visually, but they're just too dark for the text.
Anything else? All right, and then the last one we have here is Roy and did not submit, so I think we are done with this. It felt like I thought we had 10, but did we get everyone in here? Cameron, Jacob. I thought it said there was 10. Angelica, Chanel, Julianne. We got Jonathan. Did we get Marquila? No, I think we may have missed Marquila. McKill, we have Cameron, Jacob, and Roy. So let me go to this one and just see, and we'll know right when we get here. Oh, we did. Okay. So we have that one. Okay, it just wasn't there. And all right, so I think we must have gotten everyone. So thank you guys, and